Some things cannot be forgotten, no matter how hard a person tries. And this person has tried. They have genuinely, sincerely, with real effort, applied themselves to the project of moving forward, of redirecting their attention, of building a daily life in which the space you occupied has been filled with enough other things that the missing becomes manageable, that the regret becomes something they can function alongside rather than something that stops them in their tracks. It has not worked, not because they have not tried hard enough, because some connections do not yield to effort directed against them. Because what was real between you has a specific, stubborn, refuses to be minimized quality that asserts itself regardless of what is being done to quiet it. Because you do not simply get over someone who changed the interior landscape of your experience in the specific way that you changed theirs. And now, in the quiet of wherever they are as you watch this, something has shifted. A decision has been forming, slowly at first, then with increasing clarity, then with the specific, undeniable certainty of something that has been resisted long enough and that is no longer accepting resistance as an option. They want to begin again with you differently. Let me speak to who this person is to you before anything else, because the word soulmate carries weight and spirit used it specifically, and I want to honor that specificity rather than treat it as a generic term. A soulmate is not simply someone you love deeply. Deep love is more common than the word soulmate suggests. A soulmate is someone whose connection to you operates at a level that exceeds what ordinary human chemistry and ordinary human compatibility produce. Someone whose presence in your life has had an effect on who you are that cannot be fully attributed to the practical dimensions of the relationship. Someone who, even in their absence, even across whatever distance or difficulty or time has separated you, continues to be present in the way that only genuinely significant connections continue to be present. You know this feeling. You have been living with it. The specific quality of someone's energy remaining in your awareness regardless of what you do to move past it. Of their name arising in your mind in moments that have no obvious trigger. Of something in you remaining oriented toward them even when the orientation produces no immediate practical purpose. That orientation is not weakness. It is recognition. Your deeper knowing registering something that your more cautious, more self-protective surface has been trying to argue you out of. The recognition has been accurate. What exists between you is real at a level that justifies the word soulmate. And this person is finally arriving at the same acknowledgement of that reality that you have been carrying, sometimes alone, for however long this has been the landscape of your life. I want to speak to the regret specifically because it is a central thread of this reading and it needs its own full examination. What this person regrets is not a single thing. I want to be clear about that because reducing it to a single action or a single failure would minimize the full picture of what they are sitting with. What they regret is a pattern. The specific pattern of not being their best self in the context of what was between you, of allowing their fears and their unresolved things and their limitations at the time to express themselves in ways that cost you something. The costs are specific in their mind. They are not vague. They have cataloged them, not in a punishing, self-flagellating way, but in the honest, clear-eyed way of someone who is genuinely trying to understand what happened so that understanding can actually change something. They regret the moments of withdrawal when your presence deserved engagement, the times they were less honest than the depth of the connection required, the specific instances where They chose their own comfort over your need, their own protection over your security, their own management of what they felt over the genuine expression of it. And they regret something larger than any specific incident. They regret having taken the extraordinary nature of what you shared and treated it with less care than extraordinary things deserve. Having had something rare and operating as though it were ordinary, having had access to you, specifically you, and not having consistently honored what that access represented. Spirit is showing me something about the internal shift that brought this person to the desire for a fresh beginning, and I want to receive this carefully. Something happened, something that created a before and after in their understanding of what they want from their life and what they are willing to settle for in the absence of it. Not necessarily a dramatic external event, though for some of you it was exactly that. More often something internal. A moment of genuine reckoning that arrived without much warning and that showed them with uncomfortable clarity the gap between the life they are living and the life they want to be living. And the most prominent feature of the life they want to be living has a face, a specific presence, a quality of being known and knowing that they have found nowhere else. You, not a version of you, not a different person who might offer something similar, specifically, irreplaceably you. And the understanding that the fresh beginning they are craving is only possible with you, that there is no alternative path to what they are looking for, is what has brought them to the specific clarity of this moment. Does this feel like it is landing somewhere real for you, Virgo? Has there been a sense, perhaps growing recently, that something is shifting in the energy around this person, that the distance between you has a different quality than it had before, that something is moving toward resolution rather than simply remaining static? Let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to know how this is resonating. I want to speak to the fresh beginning piece specifically, because the craving for a new start with someone carries its own complexity, and I think it is important to address what a genuine fresh beginning actually requires rather than simply celebrating the desire for one. A fresh beginning with someone who has been a source of hurt in the past is not the same as returning to where things were before the hurt happened. It cannot be, because you are not who you were before the hurt happened. The experience of what passed between you has changed you, not in ways that have made you less, in ways that have made you clearer, more grounded in your own worth, more specific about what you will and will not accept, more capable of discerning the difference between genuine change and the performance of change. The fresh beginning that this person is craving has to be built on the acknowledgement of all of that, on their demonstrated understanding that what they are returning to is not the previous version of the dynamic, but something new, something that has your current self at its center, your current clarity, your current boundaries, your current understanding of what you deserve, all of it present and honored rather than gradually eroded as comfort sets in. Spirit is showing me that this person understands this. Not perfectly, but genuinely. They are not seeking to return to what was, because what was is where the patterns that produced the regret lived. They are seeking something that has never existed between you. A version of this connection that begins from the truth of what you both now know about yourselves and about each other, rather than from the hope of what you both used to believe. That is a different kind of beginning, a better one. Inhale with me, Virgo. I want to speak to the love that is on its way, because the title of this reading promises something powerful, and Spirit has been specific about what that power looks like. What is coming is not simply the return of something old. It is the arrival of something that has never fully existed in this form. The connection between you and this person, whatever it was before, whatever history it contains, has always had the potential to be something extraordinary. That potential has been present since the beginning. Since the first moment the recognition between you occurred and something in both of you understood that this was different from ordinary. What has prevented that potential from being fully realized was not a lack of love. The love has always been present. What has prevented it is the unresolved things that were brought into the space of it. The fears and the patterns and the limitations that caused the regret this person is now carrying, those things operated as a ceiling on what the connection could become. Those things are being addressed in this person's own process. Through the specific, uncomfortable, cannot be rushed work of genuine self-examination that real regret produces in someone willing to let it do its full work. And when they have been addressed, when this person brings themselves to you with that work done rather than that work still pending, the ceiling is gone. And what the connection between you becomes without the ceiling is what Spirit is calling the powerful love that is on its way. I want to speak to something about your own heart in this context, because I feel it needs to be honored directly. You have feelings about this person that have not simply resolved because time passed, or because you chose to focus on other things, or because you applied your extraordinary Virgo capacity for clear-eyed assessment to the situation and reached reasonable conclusions about it. The feelings are still there. I feel that clearly. Not because you lack the strength to release them, but because what they are attached to is real enough that the feelings themselves recognize something worth remaining attached to, even through the hurt, even through the regret-producing patterns, even through the specific, costly experience of having been on the receiving end of someone's unresolved things. You still feel something, and you are allowed to feel it without immediately converting it into a decision or a position or a clear-eyed assessment of whether it is wise to feel it. Simply feel it and let what comes from this person, when it comes, be evaluated from that honest place rather than from the managed, protective version of yourself that sometimes steps in when the real self is too vulnerable to present directly. I also want to speak to what discernment looks like in this specific situation, because this reading is about someone coming back with genuine desire for a fresh start, and I do not want to deliver that without also honoring the wisdom that the experience of what passed between you has produced in you. When this person comes, and they are coming, your discernment is the most important thing you have available to you. Not your hope, not your feelings, though those matter. Your discernment, the specific Virgo, extraordinarily accurate capacity to read what is actually in front of you rather than what you want to be in front of you. Use it. Let it operate fully. Let it read not just what this person says, but how they say it. Not just what they offer, but what their behavior in the period leading up to the offering has demonstrated. Not just the apology or the expression of desire for a new beginning, but the evidence of whether the work that would make a new beginning genuinely different from what came before has actually been done. Your discernment will know. It always knows. And what it tells you is what matters most. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the full picture of what Spirit assembled for today. A powerful love is on its way to you, not a perfect love, because perfect is not available in human connection, but a real one, a genuine one that has been through the fire of regret and honest reckoning and the specific humility of a person understanding where they fell short and choosing to address that rather than simply move on from it. Your soulmate, the person whose connection to you has always operated at a level that deserves that word, is craving something with you that has never existed before. A fresh beginning built on honesty rather than hope, on demonstrated change rather than promised change, on the full, clear, we both know what happened and we are choosing this anyway quality of two people deciding that what is real between them is worth the work of building something new from it. That is what is approaching. Receive it with your heart open enough to feel it and your discernment active enough to verify it, both at the same time, because that is who you are, warm and clear simultaneously, feeling and perceptive at once. And that combination, that specific Virgo ability to love fully and see clearly in the same moment, is exactly what this fresh beginning is going to need to become what it has always had the potential to be. If this reading touched something real in you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to feel this energy. And leave me a comment below. Tell me how this landed. Tell me what your heart says when you sit with the possibility of a genuine fresh beginning with someone whose connection to you has always felt like more than ordinary. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me deeply, and I carry your energy with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo. The love is real, the regret is real, the desire for something new between you is real, and what becomes possible when all three of those things are true simultaneously is extraordinary. Trust yourself to know the difference between real and performed, and then let what is real in